So in this guitar lesson, I want to cover the topic of bar chords, but with a little bit of a twist. So I'm going to teach you some parts from 3 different songs. So what I think is logical is that rather than go for the big 6-string bar, we learn how to do a bar on maybe 2 or 3 different strings. This is all about training your finger to get used to that bar, and also making sure that when we do the bar, that the notes are ringing out nicely. So the first song we're going to look at is Pretty Fly for a White Guy by the Offspring, and we're going to be looking at the verse section. So the verse section goes like this. So it's really just one chord. We're going to place our first finger on the 7th fret of the B and on the high E. So you're going to be wanting to press down on the spongy part of your finger, okay? We don't want to go to the tip. We don't really want an arch. We want our finger nice and flat. So you need to be pushing down with the spongy part, okay? And what you've got to do is you've got to hit both those strings and ensure they're both ringing out. And then when you have got that nice and clean, you just hit the chord twice. And that's pretty much it for the verse sections. So the other sections of the song is mainly power chords. You can learn them by yourself. We're just really focusing on starting off really simple with just one chord over 2 strings. So in the next song we're going to look at, we're going to raise the difficulty up a little bit. This is Say Ain't So by Weezer. And again, we're looking at the first section that sounds like this. This song is actually an E flat standard, but we're going to be learning it in standard tuning so you can play along to the song. So this first section, we're going to start off with our C minor shape. So it's the 3rd fret on the high E, 2nd finger on the 4th fret of the B, 3rd finger on the 5th fret of the G, and we're going to do 1 upstroke. And then we're going to move into our bar. So our bar is on the 3rd fret of the B and the high E, 2nd finger is on the 4th fret of the G. On this we're going to do 3 upstrokes. And then we're going to move the shape along 1 fret. So our bar is now on the 4th fret of the high E and the B, and our 2nd finger is on the 5th fret of the G. We're going to do 1 upstroke. So this is raising the difficulty up a little bit compared to the Offspring, because we're now using 2 different fingers, and we also need to practice moving that shape, which also means moving that bar and pushing it back down. Okay, so far we've got this. And on that very last chord, you just strum 1 up strum. And then the final chord is essentially our D major shape, but instead of being on the 2nd and the 3rd frets, we're now on the 3rd and the 4th frets. So it's the 3rd fret G, 2nd finger on the 3rd fret of the high E, and then 3rd finger on the 4th fret of the B. On this we do 3 upstrokes. Okay, so first chord is 1, 2nd chord is 3, 3rd chord is 1, and then the last chord is 3. So altogether it sounds like this. So we're going to raise the difficulty up one more time, and we're going to be playing Billie Jean by Michael Jackson. The part we're going to play is that famous synth part, so. So for this, we're going to place our first finger on the 2nd fret of the B and the G. Then our 3rd finger is going to come over the top to the 4th fret on the A, little finger on the 4th fret of the D, and we're just going to hit this chord once. Okay, so we're hitting the A, the D, the G, and the B. Then you're going to move that shape up 2 frets. So we're now on the 6th fret of the A and the D, 4th fret of the G and the B. Okay, so we've got, and again. And then the next 2 chords, we're going to move to A chord, so our shape changes a little bit. We move our 3rd and our little finger across to the 7th fret A and D. 2nd finger goes onto the 6th fret of the G. 1st finger goes onto the 5th fret of the B. Okay, so there's no bar here. And then our last chord is we go back to our G sharp minor, which is the 6th fret A and D, and then our 1st finger on the 4th fret of the G and the B. Okay, so all together. And once more. So the great thing about this guitar part is actually you can then make it even more difficult. Rather than have just a bar on 2 strings, you can actually have a bar on 3 strings. So the very first chord, you can essentially lay your first finger on the G, the B, and also the high E now. Okay, it keeps the chord the same, you've just got that added note. Okay, so then it turns into, move to our second chord, and again we're going to bar those 3 strings, so exactly the same. And then when we get to the A, which is our third chord, before we didn't do a bar, okay, our finger was just standing on the 5th fret of the B, but now what you can do is flatten that first finger onto the high E string, and it produces the bar. And then our very last chord, we just go back to our G sharp minor on the 6th and the 4th frets. Okay, so this 3-string bar version sounds like this. So I hope this has been helpful for you. It just seems logical to me to start off really small with our bars rather than just go straight for the 6-string bars or the 5th-string bars. Let's train our fingers first to do smaller bars, understand the techniques and the amount of pressure you need to put to get the notes nice and down. So then when you feel ready, you can go for the 6-string bar chord. Now the technique does change a little bit, and I've actually got a video that I'm going to link in the corner now on tips on how to play bar chords. Then you can delve in and try and get the whole 6-string bar. Hope you enjoyed this lesson. If you did enjoy this lesson, click the subscribe button and then click the bell. That way you'll be notified each week when I upload a guitar lesson.